Before you go to National Bookstore or any bookstores, please call them first because the book might not be available. Kaya mas expose niya mo sa virus. So you call them first. Rex Bookstore, doon lang na sa UC, UC Main. So you can call Rex Bookstore if the book is available. Okay? So again, class, I really hope that you will have the book. But I'm not forcing you or requiring you to have the book. I'm just strongly encouraging you because I will no longer scan a page for you because I might be put to prison for kuan. But dili ko makuan gas kay CNE man na tapos I kuan man I cited the author, no? Si Makay and others 2018. Understanding the self. Okay? So at the right side, so if you can assign somebody to create our group chat, that's my Facebook account. No? The logo is the logo of psychology, then my complete name. Okay, so just invite me to join. Okay. So our next up of our first topic for this semester, one of the various perspectives, the philosophical perspectives. What philosophy has to say about the self? Okay. So first class, let's differentiate first I and me because the self kuno is composed of the I and me. So what is the difference between the I and me? So I class is the actor while me is the object. For example, I am Marisa Generale. I am a teacher. I will go somewhere. I. When you say me, it's the object. So may kag, who? Me? What about me? So again, I as the actor, then me as the object. Then what is the difference between identity and the self? So we will just get class first a very light definition about identity and the self. So first, we'll just get the definition from Merriam-Webster Dictionary. So according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, identity as a noun. So identity refers to the qualities. So think of your qualities or your own qualities. It could refer to beliefs that make a particular person or group different from others. So ang identity class, it has reference with other persons or other groups. So for example, as a group, no, we have the Filipino identity. You have the American identity. You have the European identity. So it is relative, no, in relation to other groups or particular person. While ang self kuno class, according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, as a noun, it refers to the person. It's the person that someone normally or truly is. Or, to make it simple, it's the entire person of an individual. No, ang self is the entire person of an individual. But we are more concerned on how the philosophers see the self. Okay, so much of philosophy concerns with the fundamental nature of self. Okay, so I need somebody to read the slide. Mr. Padillo, is Mr. Padillo present?
Yes, miss.
Miss lagi. Justin? Oh, girl
Babae.
yan. Okay, sige, Justin. Justin Bieber. Sige.
Um,
Kindly read the
uh,
slide.
the, the Greeks were the ones who were seriously questioned myths and moved away from there to understand reality and respond to perennial questions of the curiosity, including the question of the self.
Okay, thank you, Justine.
Yes,
So,
Miss.
Justine Padillo. Okay. So, it's the Greek, no? Okay. So, before we'll talk about the philosophers and their respective perspectives class, we have to differentiate or know the nature and meaning of empiricism and rationalism. I know you're already very familiar with these terms because you cannot graduate senior high school without submitting a research. And of course, in conducting research, dapat makabaw jud tag empiricism because empiricism is the basis of science. Okay. So, you try to one class prior learning, no? Prior learning, you try to recall based on your stock knowledge what is empiricism and what is rationalism. Anyone? Try ra good. Tag-an. Wala. Sige. So, empiricism, rationalism. Okay. So, why do we need to know what empiricism is and rationalism? It's because, class, there are philosophers who are empiricists and there are philosophers who are rationalists. So what exactly is empiricism and what exactly is rationalism? So the philosophy of the self has been defined through two distinct lenses or two distinct views or two distinct perspectives. So empiricism and sense recension. Okay, so you pay attention, huh? So I will read first class, then I will explain, huh? So empiricism, the only source of genuine knowledge about the world is sense experience. To make it, to make the statement simple, class, in empiricism, knowledge, or I mean, the source of knowledge is sense experience. The source of knowledge is sense experience. So every time you hear the word sense, of course, we always associate it with senses, and we always associate senses with our sense organs. So in empiricism, it holds the view that nothing goes to the mind without passing through the senses. Meaning, class, kung sa physiology pa na o biology, so you have the brain and the sense organs. So the specific stimulus of the eyes, di ba, light waves. So it's the eyes that will detect the light waves. But the eyes, class, cannot understand anything. The sense organs simply detects environmental stimuli. In this case, visual man, the eyes, light waves. So the eyes has to transform the physical energies into chemical energies or electrical energies so that the brain can understand it. So, ilan to lisurod class. So first, the external stimuli must be detected by the sense organs. Then the sense organs will transmit the message to the brain. So meaning, walay muadto sa brain kung dili muagi sa sense organs. Okay? So nothing goes to the mind without passing through the senses. So for empiricism, it holds the view that the primary source of knowledge is sense experience. So, meaning, class, kung imo nang i-reflect, when we were born, there is no knowledge. O nang ingon ang mga empiricists, especially si John Locke, nga the mind is a tabula rasa at birth. When you say tabula rasa, blank slate at birth. So kung empiricism ka, check ang idea sa empiricism, they say, quote unquote, sense experience is unreliable and inadequate route to knowledge. Then to counter the rationalist, the empiricist said that reason is an unreliable and inadequate route to knowledge unless it is grounded in the solid bedrock of sense experience. Okay. So sa rationalism class, the fundamental truths about the world can be known a priori, meaning innate, either innate or self-evident to our minds. To make it very simple, class, according to the rationalist, knowledge is innate. Dili innate nga gilimot anta, innate, inborn. Inborn. It's there already. So meaning, if you are a rationalist, you believe that the moment you were born, there's already knowledge. No? Because knowledge is innate, knowledge is inborn. But if you are an empiricist, moingon ka. Empiricist ha? There is no such thing as innate knowledge because knowledge is derived from experience. The mind before experience is a tabula rasa, a blank slate. One class and difference between rationalism and empiricism. Again, if you are an empiricist, you believe that the mind is a tabula rasa at birth, meaning the mind is an empty, blank slate at birth, and knowledge is acquired through experience. But if you are a rationalist, knowledge is innate or inborn. So the source of knowledge about reality is reason. Again, the source of knowledge is reason for rationalism. For empiricism, the source of knowledge is sense experience. Okay. Now I will entertain clarifications. Okay. So, please read, Mr. Kirby Acuña.
The following are discussions of different perspectives and understandings of the self according to its prime movers, from the philosophers of the ancient times to the contemporary period.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kirby. Kirby Acuña. So, present si Kirby. Okay. Know thyself. Ay, sa konang class, no? Nagsige na mo kadungog anig. Know thyself. There is a misconception, class, no? There is a false belief that it was Socrates who said this. No. This particular principle or aphorism, it's already there. Okay. And it can be found, kuno class, in the temple of Apollo. It's already inscribed. Nung ikulit na nadaan, of course, sa Greece, di ba, daghang temples, Acropolis, the temple of Athena, the temple of Nike, the temple of Ek. So, one of the temples there is the temple of Apollo. And on top, nga to sa pillar class sa temple, there inscribed, doon ay ikulit nga to, kani nga principle or aphorism nga know thyself. And why is it closely associated with Socrates? Because this principle was Socrates' guiding principle as he imparted to his students. Meaning, class, this is the guiding principle used by Socrates in teaching his students. And one of his students was Plato. Okay, so know thyself. So let's try to find out the importance later, the importance of knowing and examining oneself. Okay. So, is Jelly Rose present? Miss Sala, is Miss Sala present? Kindly read, Miss Sala. The two between. Okay, thank you, Miss Sala. Okay, so things to ponder, things to think, things to reflect. So, do you agree that there is a difference between the body and the soul? Do you think you have both? What's the difference between wrong spelling man ni iyang between class? Sobrahan og W. The two. Okay, so let's try to find the answers according to Socrates. Socrates. Okay. So Socrates class believes in dualism. So what exactly do we mean by dualism? That man, reality, is composed of body and soul. Okay. But first, who was Socrates? Socrates was a stonemason. So atong present times good class murag mo or ba carpenter, mason, mason, blah blah blah. So he was a stonemason with a sharp mind. He wanted to discover the essential nature of knowledge, justice, beauty, and goodness. However, he did not write anything, and a lot of his thoughts were only known through Plato's writing. So, see Socrates class, of course, he was a teacher. No, he had a student. He had students. However, he did not lecture. He did not write anything. So good that he had an equally brilliant student in the name of Plato, and it was Plato who wrote everything about Socrates' principles, philosophies, and theories. Okay, so going back to dualism, again, Socrates believed that reality or man or the self has two dimensions or two realities, the body and the soul. No? Body and soul. So what are the characteristics of the body and what are the characteristics of the soul? So according to Socrates class, the body man, lawas na to, the body is mortal, mamatay. The body is imperfect. The body is temporary and transient. So the body is changeable or changing. In fact, 5 years ago, lahi mong physical features dagway karon na usab imong lawas, no? So the body is changing or changeable. So the body is mortal, mamatay. The body is imperfect. The body is temporary or transient. The body is changing or changeable. For Socrates, the soul is permanent. The soul is perfect. The soul is immortal, and the soul is changing. Unchanging. Dili mausap-usap. Okay. So, however, class, no, according to Socrates, the soul strives. The soul strives for perfection and wisdom. However, the soul has difficulty achieving this because the soul is being dragged down by the body. No? So the body dragged the soul. So the body, which is imperfect, mortal, changing, dragged the soul. However, according to Socrates class, the soul can still free itself from the body using blank. Okay, so tagna lang class, you guess. So the soul kuno class strives for perfection, happiness, wisdom. However, it is being dragged by the body imperfect, mortal, etc. So can the soul free itself from the body? Yes. But what tool? What should be used by the soul to free itself from the body? One word na class. Guess. What tool should be used by the soul to free from the body? Sa man iyang gamit? Ha?
Die means
to die.
Actually,
It ends with N. It ends with N. It ends with N. It starts with R.
Reason.
Okay, very good. Reason. Huh? So, reason. Reason can help the soul, is a tool, no? Reason is the tool that can be used by the soul to free itself from the body. That's according to Socrates. Yes, okay. So, Socrates was the first philosopher engaged in systematic questioning about the self. According to Socrates, the true task of a philosopher is to know oneself. No, so mo ni atong i-conjugate class, no? I-think. The true task of a philosopher is to know oneself. Okay. I have here two statements, no? Two bullets. Okay. I have two questions in this slide, from this slide. Okay. So if you want to answer, you just say your name, then give your answer. I have a question, class. So, according to Socrates, knowledge is inherent in man. So, what lens, no? What lens about the self is used by Socrates? What lens? What view? Okay, very good. What's your name? What's your name? Ah? Ibanez? Ibanez? Ah?
I'm sorry.
Static ka dong. Ibanez? Ibones? Your family name starts with I?
Yes,
Ibones. Okay, thank you, Mr. Ibones. No, Ibones. Okay. So, Socrates, very clear class, clear as crystal, no? That Socrates holds the view of rationalism. Di ba ganina we mentioned that in rationalism, according to rationalism, that the source of knowledge is reason, and that knowledge is inherent or innate or inborn. Oh? So inherent. So knowledge is inherent in man. The second bullet, man is a being in search for knowledge. So my question, class, no? In the first bullet or statement, it is said nga knowledge is inherent in man, meaning when we were born, there is already knowledge. But how come that according to Socrates, the second statement, man is a being in search for knowledge? So if knowledge is already inherent or innate in man, how come that man is a being in search for knowledge? That's my question. Okay, so I need a volunteer to answer that question. So knowledge is inherent or innate in man. So if knowledge is already in man when he was born, how come that according to Socrates, man is a being in search for knowledge? Nga naman siya knowledge. Nga naman niyang knowledge, inherent man. Any answer?
Pwede mo try?
Sige, of course. Try man yun ta. Sige, what's your family name?
Abellanosa, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. Abellanosa.
Based for me, ma'am, kung inherit nga ang knowledge man, yes, of course, but it's not yet been bold kayo bitaw kay ma'am, di pa ka siya kuan kay ma'am ba, di pa ka siya bugat kay nga pagka-kuan kay siyempre wa pa tayo daman na kay wala pa born pa man ta, pero in searching mo good ma'am, mas mo deep and deep pagid atong knowledge about ana nga specific nga atong kina kuan ma'am ba.
Okay, I get your point. Your point, Mr. Abellanosa, is that the knowledge that we have is still inadequate. It's still not enough, and our search for knowledge is insatiable. Okay, that's very logical. No, you're using really your common sense. Thank you, Mr. Abellanosa. So for Mr. Abellanosa class, man is still in search for knowledge, although knowledge already inherent in man. It's because the knowledge that man has is still inadequate, and man's search for knowledge is insatiable. Okay, that's very good. However, Socrates has its own answer. Thank you, Mr. Abalinosa. That's a very good answer. So for Socrates' class, man is in search for knowledge because unexpected kayo ang iyang reason, class. Because man forgets. Kalimot ko ta, class. No? Because man forgets. So, what are we going to do to remember or to recollect? So, thus, one has to recollect. How? Man has to recollect. How? Mao na to, class, katong systematic questioning, no? Through the Socratic method. You might be familiar of the Socratic method, the art of questioning. And this type of questioning, class, is self-questioning. Okay, so how to recollect? Through the Socratic method, self-questioning, asking yourself. So this search for knowledge, class, is introspective self-analysis. No, introspection, di ba? Introspection. What is introspection? Self-analysis. What are we going to analyze? We are going to analyze our thoughts, our feelings, our experiences, our actions, our behaviors. So it's inward. So again, how to recollect? Through Socratic method. And was basically the Socratic method. It's basically self-questioning. So this search for knowledge is introspective. So kung mag-search kuno ta sa knowledge, class, we have to analyze ourselves. We use introspection. I think in new terms, class, at present period in time, sa atong time, it's similar to reflect, no? Examining, introspection, examining, investigating, but psychologists and philosophers use that word, introspection. So again, what is introspection? Means analyzing one's thoughts, feelings, experiences, actions. So in short, it's self-analysis. So that's why, according to Socrates, knowing the very own self is self-directed knowledge. Okay. So in the Socratic method, in fact, class, if you're a teacher or you are a teacher education student, you'll be very familiar with the Socratic method, because one of the methods used by teachers is question and answer, no? Socratic method. So in the Socratic method, where students are asked questions after question after question, dili gyud hunungan ang estudyante ni Socrates, class, until the truth will be unraveled, no? Until ma-arrive ang truth. So Socrates sought to expose contradictions in the students' thoughts and ideas to then guide them to solid, tenable conclusions. Di jud kahundungan ni Socrates until ang pinaka-piso, kung saan pa na, class, ang pinakatinuod, ang pinakadulo, makuha na yun, no? So the truth. So tenable conclusions. So Socrates didn't lecture. Instead, he asked questions. Mo nang Socratic method, class. So if you encounter Socratic method, it's basically asking questions. Okay. So to digress, class, no? So muliko sa tagamay, Socrates was put to trial. He was arrested, class. He was put to prison. Then he was sentenced to death. How? By drinking poison. He was not poisoned, because there's a misconception that Socrates was poisoned while he was in prison. No. Ang ilang penalty for the crime that was committed by Socrates was for him to drink poison. So what was the crime of Socrates? So he was put to trial, imprisoned, and sentenced by drinking poison for allegedly corrupting the minds of the young, not only the young, as well as the old in Athens, to the presuppositions about themselves and about the world, particularly about who they are. Meaning, class, during the time of Socrates, Manggod, the norm, no, ang practice, class, philosophers are expected to study the external about the cosmos, the galaxies, the movement of stars, blah, blah, blah. But Socrates deviated. So deviant, no, si Socrates. So he violated the norm. Why? In what way he violated the norm? Because he was the first to redirect attention or study to the inner world, inward. And he was accused of corrupting, especially the minds of the young. So instead of the external world unexplored, yang i-define no, ang norm, and he was the one who first thought of redirecting and discovering the self inward. So again, he was put to trial, blah, 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 and pursued about themselves, about the world, particularly who they are. So most men were really not fully aware of who they were and the virtues that they were supposed to attain to preserve their souls after life. Okay. Akong ipaawahi class ang unod, no? So the last slide class is very heavy. I think we cannot even explain it in for 15 minutes. Okay, but I will just first show you the slide, then we will analyze deeply next meeting. Okay, we only have 15 minutes na lang, no? But I will show you the slide. Important Socratic views. Yeah, taas man ni siya explain class, no? Okay, but I will just ask someone to explain just one statement. Okay, so important Socratic views. 1, knowledge is the personification of good, while ignorance is that of evil. The worst thing that could happen to anyone is to live but die inside. It reminds me of a song, Klasana. I am dying inside to hold you. Okay, anyway, an unexamined life is not worth living. Self-knowledge is the ultimate virtue. It will lead to ultimate happiness. I intentionally placed these 4 statements, class, in one slide. Kay katag maunta ni. But I decided to integrate these 4 statements in one slide because the explanations of these 4 statements, class, are interrelated. No? So kung i-explain na nimo ang first statement, related na siya sa explanation sa last 3. So intertwined ang ilang explanations, no? Interdependent. So that's why I made the decision to put these 4 important statements in one slide because their explanations are very related. Para usara atong pagtanaw. Okay. So knowledge is the personification of good, while ignorance is that of evil. The worst thing that could happen to anyone is to live but die inside. An unexamined life is not worth living, and self-knowledge is the ultimate virtue. It will lead to ultimate happiness. Okay, so I will just ask one or a volunteer, no, to choose one statement and then kindly briefly explain your own understanding of that statement, of that Socratic statement. Then we can continue tomorrow. Kita pa dito tomorrow, class, no? So we'll continue tomorrow. But before we say it goodbye, say it the day, before we say goodbye, kuan lang, one volunteer to explain one statement. Just choose which statement you want to explain. What's your family name?
Kainkoy Jeffrey Mays.
Okay, Mr. Kainkoy.
So first, knowledge is the personification of good, while ignorance is that of evil. So if ato siya i-conclude, meaning pabalon to lang, knowledge is power. So if you have so the wide knowledge, so pwede ka maka-overcome og tao. So meaning if ato sa contrast, knowledge is in between sa good ug sa evil, while ignorance is simply common about like related to the word apathy. When ignorance is simply you do not know, while apathy is like you don't care. So if ignorant ka, most likely dili ka kaayo socialize, dili ka like less imong knowledge. So more likely ikaw kayo evil, di ba? So whereas ang knowledge, for example, sa we have a knowledge about science. So while inventor ka science, you can invent a technology for good, like we can also invent a technology for bad. For example, explosive, something like that, and we have cars for good. Ang cars na pwede na siya gamit transportation, pwede siya makapatay tao. So basically, ang idea ni sa knowledge of the person good is very perplexing, very case na kanang broad case ang idea, which is grabe kanang so the critical king analysis kanang sa idea I'm thinking.
Okay, thank you no, for sharing to us your ideas, Mr. Kainkoy. No, I'm happy that you volunteered to answer and share your ideas. Okay, so tomorrow class we will meet, and again, the first thing that we are going to tackle will be these 4 statements. No, so knowledge is the personification of good, while ignorance is that of evil. The worst thing that could happen to anyone is to live but die inside. An unexamined life is not worth living, and self-knowledge is the ultimate virtue. It will lead to ultimate happiness. In fact, class, kung imo lang ng mata-matahon, if you want to be happy, you have to be self-knowledgeable. Okay, so how? We'll discuss tomorrow. Okay. Okay, so tomorrow we'll have several philosophers. We have Plato, Rene Descartes, Gilbert Ryle, David Hume, John Locke, Paul Churchland. Kana sila class, you can read them sa file, no? The one that I shared to you, sa materials, the materials that I shared. Okay, in the Philosopher's Way. But as I've said, that particular article by Shafi is very philosophical, quite deep. So it's quite challenging. So I made it simpler. I sent to you 3 scanned sheets or pages, then 2 video clips. Okay, so any concerns, any clarifications with regards to our lessons? No? Lesson na to karong morning. Any?
Miss,
Yes.
i-post na nimo ang kana nga PPT sa Moodle, Miss.
Actually, I'm still thinking about it. Why? Because everything that is presented in the PowerPoint class are just simply taken from the materials that I'm sharing to you. It basically sa kana kang Shafi na in the Philosopher's Way, then ang summary kana sa kantong folder by Makayan to support pa gyud para gyud mo makasabot the 2 video clips. So I'm still thinking if I will share to you the PowerPoint, ha? Kay naraman tanan gyud sa kani akong i-present class, namara gyud na tanan sa materials that I shared to you in Moodle. Okay?
Okay, Miss.
Okay, sige. Any other concerns? So I hope, no, I'm really hoping that some of you can buy and secure the book. Okay? So if you are kay resources, no, please buy the book. Okay, so any other concerns? So again, reminders for those who don't have real profile pictures, please next meeting or tomorrow, no, pakita inyong mga pictures nga now. Okay, I prefer nga live, no, kasi ni Miss Hunsay, live yun. Okay, si Maribel. Okay, sige. If you have no more clarifications, questions, so see you tomorrow class, same time. Okay? Sige. Bye for now.
Bye, Miss.
Bye, Miss.
Bye. Asa man yung mga chat? Yung
Bye,
mga
Miss.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Sige. Sige, bye.
Bye, Miss.
Bye.
Thank you, Miss.
Bye.
outline. Okay. So the description of this course is as follows. So the main purpose or the what is entailed in the BS 107, this is to train you students with the basic functions of a manager. Okay, applicable in decision making when you will be in the real world or in the corporate world. Okay, or when you belong to the working class na later. Okay, so this will serve as our training ground. You'll be equipped with the basic knowledge of what is engineering management. Okay. Okay, so it's being stressed here that you would also further learn how to apply planning, leading, organizing, and control principles into the resources in order to increase the efficiency. So that is one main role of a manager for efficiency and effectivity of a certain organization. Okay, here. So this is a 3-unit lecture course, no prerequisite. Okay. So at the end of the course, we are expected to be able to do the following. Or, okay, here. So you to know the basic functions of management. Okay, so we'll, and then you would also have the knowledge to describe the cultural setting within which managers make decisions and the moral framework of their management philosophies. Okay. Also, you must be able to describe the basic functions of a manager. Okay. To learn the stages of strategic planning and to know the hierarchy of plans and competitive strategies. Describe and apply in case studies the elements and the different types of leadership. We will have case studies a later part of our discussions. Okay. Describe the structure of formal organization. And describe the basic principles of controlling and the essential elements of a control system. So these are the outcomes or the learnings we hope that we can be able to learn. Okay. And lastly, know and apply the different functions of management. Okay, so besides knowing, learning, you should be able to apply this different function of a management in the future. And even being a manager of yourself, you can apply this one. Okay. So these are the different topics that we will be tackling in the next 3 months. Okay. So these are the main topics. The following has its subtopics. Okay. So we have to know what is engineering management, historical development of management theory. Okay. So management and its functions are as follows. So these are the things we will be discussing here. Okay. And that one. Okay. Okay, so in production side. Okay. Okay. And as follows also. Okay, on the marketing side and managing finance. Okay. So here. So these are all the things that we're gonna be talking about here in the class. Okay. So in the first few weeks or few days, I will be discussing to you, okay? And once I have already planned it and organized, you will also have your time to share and talk in class, okay? I will just have to plan and organize it yet. Okay, so I will have to transfer to another slide. Okay, course evaluation. Okay, this one. Okay, so you will be also evaluated based on the following criteria. Okay, um, but first we have this following assessment task. So these are the outputs expected from us. Okay. So quizzes, it's equivalent to 40%. The major exams, prelims, midterm, semifinals, and finals is equivalent to 30% of your grade. And then class standing is 30%. Okay. So these are our tasks. Okay. Okay. And the passing score is 75% across all elements in the computation of your grade. So it's 75. Okay. As mandated by the university. Okay. So the grading system. So this is how your grades are computed based on your outputs. Okay. So let's check on the prelim grade. Okay, so these are the elements under your prelim grade. Your mid prelim or the major exam is 30%. Okay. Okay, so this is the one. Okay, wait. Quizzes, that is 40. And the breakdown for that class standing, which is 30%, are as follows. So you have our seat works, board work. When we are in Moodle, you can do board work, okay. But here, we cannot. Okay. Since we cannot have a live class in Moodle, so we are here, and then you cannot do board work here, okay. But you can do oral participation, okay. Attendance and assignment, okay. Maybe if we will have some reporting, okay, I will just insert it somewhere here. Okay. So the class standing composed of these factors is has a weight of 30%. So all your outputs computed for prelim will be, and then they will be added together. That is your prelim grade. Okay. Midterm, the same components apply and the same percentage. Okay. So you will have what they call the tentative midterm grade. Okay. So your midterm grade is the average of your prelim grade and your tentative midterm grade, which is this one. Okay. That's your midterm grade. Okay. And then we have the semifinals. The semifinals is treated the same as the prelim grade computation. Okay. So, and then in the finals, your accomplishments also, they are computed what you have accomplished for the final term. Okay. And that grade that will come out there, we label it as your tentative final grade 1. Okay. So now, your semi-final grade plus your tentative final grade 1 divided by 2 will give you your tentative final grade 2. Okay. So that is not still your not your final grade. And your final grade, therefore, okay, midterm grade and your tentative final grade. Okay, so this is now your final grade, which will be reflected in your grade, e-grade portal. Okay, so mauna na siya ang makita. Okay, so more or less it's 50-50 in every term. Okay, and take note of the different components of the grade. Okay, so that you will know which is which, or that will help you or make you pass. But as you can see, every factor is critical. Okay, so you have to make the best of everything. Okay, the best you can. Okay, here, let me go back here. The 75% passing, as I've mentioned, it's mandated by the university. And the rationale for that one is that is in line with what is the passing in the board exam. Okay, so we aim that high because the board exam is also that high, almost that high. Okay, so we are trying to train ourselves to aim that high so that at the end we will be able to get what we ultimately want, to be a licensed engineer. Okay, so kana siya, passing score is 75, that's why it's like that. Okay, so let me check what's next. Okay, course references, so I have to go back to our slide. Okay. That's 75%. Okay, oral project. Okay, here. So the recommended references for this BS 107, this is the book here from Medina Roberto. Okay, so there is an ebook available. So this is the given link for that ebook, for that soft copy. Okay. Okay. But just a warning, the book is not complete. So there are pages which are not displayed for some reasons. Maybe according sa author na. Okay. So, but just a few pages. Okay. So you also need other references. Okay. So you can get any engineering management book. Okay. The university also has a list of books. So I will have to check if they are recommending us an engineering management book that we need to procure. Okay. So I will have to check on that. Okay. Initially, I have seen the list. Okay. All the books will cost you, ebook, it's an ebook, 790. Okay. So, more or less, that's going to be the price if they have the engineering management book. Okay. Here. So you can get this one. You just back up a reference from the internet. So you can just make a comparison to validate, okay, from the book. Okay. Also, you see also, they have some learning resources. Okay. So you just please try to check on these links. I will just post this in our Google Classroom announcement. Okay, so you can try to browse if you can find some engineering articles, engineering management articles here. So this one here. And this is also another online database. Okay, so these are the login details. You can browse to check if there are information articles about engineering management. Okay, so I will just be posting this one, okay, for your reference. Okay. Okay, so here. Okay, the teaching methodology and techniques here, there are two. Okay, so we have the synchronous delivery mode and the asynchronous delivery mode. Okay, the synchronous mode of learning, this is what we are currently doing. Okay, the asynchronous delivery mode, so that is your own time of learning. You may be doing your assignments, reading assignments, study and other class related works. Okay, so here most of the time we will be having synchronous. Of course, I said most of the time. So there are times that we will be doing asynchronous. Okay, of course, we have to apply the two modes of learning just to make it a balance. Okay, here. So the attendance, okay. So according to CHED, okay, the total number of absences, the student should not be able to incur more than 20% of absences. Or in our case, so more than 20, so this is 3 units, okay. The total number of meetings or 9 hours for a 3-unit course. Okay, so 9 hours. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. 6 meetings. Okay. Otherwise, if you'll have more than 20%, you will be automatically dropped regardless of class standing. Okay, bisag pasar ang class standing, you can be dropped if more than 20%. Okay? But that 20% is unexcused absences. Okay, so what are the excused absences? If you got sick or whatever circumstances that needs your attention somewhere, but you have to give me supporting documents to have your absences tagged as excused. Okay, so if you get sick, you'll get a doctor's certificate. Okay, and for others, there are, depending on what are the circumstances, so the supporting docs will also depend on those circumstances. Okay. Okay, so no attendance will be given if the student fails to attend a single synchronous session and participate in any asynchronous activity. Okay, so, okay. We have what we call the honor code. Okay, so being in school, being a student, this is your training ground in preparation for your future when you will be in the real world. Okay, so training ground. Okay, so part of your training that you have to maintain academic honesty. Okay, so one of the academic dishonesty is cheating. Okay, plagiarism, and everything that is stated here. Okay, but we are in the cyberspace. Okay, so I cannot fully check on that one. So it will be on your side. So it will be up to you if you will practice academic honesty. Okay, but during exams, if I will require everyone to be on cam. Okay, during exams and quizzes to be on cam. Okay, so it's up to you. Okay, and then consultation. Okay, not applicable, PM me. So you can do public message, okay? And also you can do private message here in our Google Classroom or in FB, okay? Or you can also email me, okay? For any concerns, issues that you want to clarify or to be answered, okay? So you can just get in touch with me through those venues of communication, okay? Okay, so some additions. So these are some additional classroom rules and policies. Okay, so here, okay. So cheating, as discussed. Observe proper etiquette. Okay, we will have this in the next meeting. We will run through this one before we will start with our subject discussion proper. And then school policy for required attendance. Okay, so this is also in your student manual. Okay, as discussed. The passing percentage, 75, as discussed. Okay. Yes, we will be following the examination schedule. So which is the prelim exam this coming October 1 or 2. I can, excuse me for a while. Okay. So we will follow the exam schedules. Okay. So everyone is encouraged to actively participate and be present in our online conference. Okay. Student must submit all the required deliverables in the course. Okay. Student must follow religiously the UC student manual, rules, and regulations. Okay. So I hope you have a copy of your student manual. So in your manual, it is there that you can see your rights as a student. Okay. The grading system, okay, as discussed. Any protest, questions, clarifications of the final grade will not be entertained unless otherwise it will question the computation of the final grade with valid test questionnaire results. Okay. But for the cyberspace that we are in the internet, okay, test questionnaire will be automatically returned mostly after exams. But there are exams and quizzes which are not which cannot be checked by the system, which requires manual system. But still, the scores will be returned to you. Okay. So your keeper of your documents for now will be the IP cloud. Okay. So there. So when you have your answers, I mean results of your quizzes, final exam, major exam, you will have a picture of how you are doing in class. Okay. And other activities also which are returned. So you will have a picture how well you are doing in class. Okay. So let's run through fast. Okay. Okay, the same. Okay. Okay. So I will make this a point. I will try my very best to give you your final grade before I will submit it to the registrar. Okay. So in the event, if there are protests, questions, clarifications, it will be between the instructor and the acknowledged parties. So the other party, the instructor, and the other parties are the student, parents, or guardian. So these are the parties that I will only interface if you have protest. Okay. Then Orientation of the department. Oh, I believe you have attended your department orientation. Okay. Okay. So it says here, thank you. But before we will end, okay. Okay, I will be sending to you in our announcement board, you will have to fill up this form, okay? You have to fill up this form as an acknowledgement that we have discussed the rules and regulations and the course outline. Okay, and then you will have to return this one. This is individually done. You will have to return this in JPEG or in PDF. Okay? So I will be sending this one later. Okay, any questions, clarifications, concerns? The table is open for you. Any questions? This is such a class. Okay. Very good. Okay. Come again.
Asa day ka mag-attendance sa module ra?
So when we will be registered in the Moodle, you will do automatic attendance there. Dito ra ka mo kuan. You will have to do it on your own ang kuan. So I will just set the attendance in Moodle. Pagkakaroon, I'm just doing it manual. Okay. Okay. So I will check on the chat box. I'll set half. Wait sa. Excuse me sir, for a while. Ay, sorry. Where am I? Okay. Okay. Anyone? What else? Okay, I will check the chat box shortly. Okay, I will just have to finish this one. You are 50 in this class. Okay. Okay, but I have 40 here. Okay, I'll check in the chat box. Okay. Okay, so BES 107 38026. Okay, let me see. 38026, yes. Okay. Okay, so BS 107 EDP code 38026, yes, okay. Miss concern about browned out and internet connection, yes. So this is something beyond our control, okay. So any one of us can experience that one. So please let me know, okay. Even after, when you get back to your connection, please let me know. And also please get in touch with your classmates for some things that you might have missed. And then I will just post some discussions in our announcement board, or in our, yes, I will post announcements there. Assignments, so you always check your emails, okay? And our classroom. The announcements will be posted. The resources will be posted. So if you get disconnected, check with your classmates and just let me know, and then keep yourself updated in our classroom. Okay? Sige. Anyone, any more else? So let's just keep our communication open. Okay. So any one of you would like to volunteer to make a Facebook Messenger for this class? Okay. You just invite me, my name in
Charting is basically, what is flowcharting? Flowcharting is basically explaining, or it depicts a diagram of the flow of your program. Meaning it will show what is the process or what is the steps you follow or the program follows to give you an output or input or anything that will help you to solve problems. For example, in figure 1.1 or the program 1.1, this is a payroll na program. First, you have start. Next, you have display message. Next, you will read the program will read an input. Next, it will display an output. Then read an input again. Then this process the inputs, and it will display your payroll. And it will end the program. So, natay mga parts ani. First, you will have terminals. Terminals are represented as basically a rounded rectangles or basically mura siya hotdog. Man siya ang nag-indicates og start and end point, meaning the start of the program and the end of the program. And programs are always coming from the top to bottom. Hindi na siya pwede na coming from the bottom to the top or side to the top then bottom. It will be always na top to bottom. Next, input and output. This represented as parallelograms. Basically, it indicates operations like inputs and outputs. Meaning, naakay pakita or naakay pangayoon. Next, we have process. Diri may tabo ang mathematical na mga calculations or assigning of variables. What are the four types or structures of a flowchart? We have sequence, decision, repetition, and case. Sequence is basically a simple series of actions that is starting from the top going to the bottom. We have decisions. Decisions are basically having true or false until a situation or the formula is true or until it will false and it will proceed to another na process or program. There are two types of decisions. We have a one type, one output, and the other is two outputs. Kasi pasabot ng one output, meaning muhatag ra siya og result kung true or false. Ang two outputs mana kung na either way na true or false na siya result na ipakita. Mana ang one output and two outputs. Next, we have repetition. Repetition is basically looping, meaning you are trying to make a decision until that equation or at that situation ma-change na mahimo siya false. Kung true siya perme, magtuyok siya perme, meaning magbalik-balik. Kung ma-false na, muundang na siya, then mo proceed siya sa lain na part sa imong program. Next, we have case. Case is basically having a menu or having many decisions or inputs, but every inputs na siya ikaw galingon na result. So basically, mura na siya inyong grado. For example, 100 to 95, you have plot 1, 94, na kay 1.1, 93, na kay 1.2, so on and so forth. Connectors. Connectors are basically if ang imong page napuno na sa program, naabot na ka sa bottom of the page. Now, ganahan na pa makay extra na buhaton or daghan pa ka buhaton, then you will use connectors. Ang connectors is basically imo siya i-connect sa different border or different page para ma-continue imong program. And next, we will have modules. Modules are basically predefined functions or functions that you define. Meaning you can make another flowchart for that situation or that program or that function, then imo na siya gi-insert sa imong original or the main program. Combining structures. Combining structures are basically structures of different structures like na kay decision, na kay repetition, na kay repetition, na kay sequence, gipang combine ra na ninyo, meaning a structure inside a structure. So let's review. First, ang first nato makita kanang murag hotdog, that is a terminal. Next, parallelogram mao na atong input output. The rectangle is the process. The diamond is basically your decision. The circle is your connector, and lastly, your square, a rectangle inside the rectangle is basically mao na ang modules. Now, common problems sa paghimo flowchart, malimtan ang arrowhead sa arrowheads. Ano naman, usually i-connect ra ninyo line to line, which is wrong. Dapat na siya arrowhead to indicate where is the process going. Bahalag top down na siya, dapat nagapo na siya arrowhead. Now, manata sa tanan. Let's go to Excel. Sa Excel, for sure wala mo kabaw sa ang uban diri sa inyo walay training sa Excel. That is why naghatag na kog links, naghatag na kog link na asa mo pwede mag-download sa katong tutorial sa Excel. From prelim to midterm, you will practice Excel by yourself. Na natoy basics dito tanan. Semifinals mag-start na tag program. I will group you into groups na wala ko kabaw, pila pa mo kabuok, mangayo ba ko sa final list ninyo, pilagin mo kabuok, para itunga-tunga tamo. Saan niyo pag-collaborate na wala mo nagkuyog? For your collaboration, you will just use Google Drive. Google Drive, built-in na niya na siya spreadsheet. Which is, kanang spreadsheet, pwede na ninyo i-share sa imong partner, sa inyong ka-group, pwede mo dito mag-program, then pwede na ninyo i-send sa ako after kung manaan mo sa program. So meaning, makita ninyo kisay ni na ay collaboration na points. Meaning, kisa to ang ni tabang sa inyo ha. Kaya makita man na kisay last ni edit. So, sa Google Drive mo maghimo sa inyong coding. Kaya kabag ko, not all of you are using laptops, not all of you are using mobile phones. Then, you can use Google Drive para dito na mo mag-coding. Kay tungod lahi-lahi mo gud ang format. Kay naiuban maggamit og Windows Microsoft Office 2016, naiuban magamit og 2010. That is why mas okay na mag-Google Drive mo. Again, I will not teach you the basics. I will only teach you the middle na. Meaning, magtudlo na ko ninyo saan niyo paggamit sa katong mga basics na mahimo na to ninyo og program. And that is for this week's meeting. Tomorrow, you will have a seat work. I think makita na ninyo ang seat work, but ang seat work ninyo mapasa na ninyo sugod ugma. Again, Fridays are for synchronous. Saturdays is for asynchronous. Seat works and assignments nasa asynchronous. Quizzes will be on synchronous. Dili na tuhok doon ang time because you will still need to practice your Excel. Kaya kabako, wala mo i-Excel ang uban dere. I don't know sa high school ninyo, sige tudlo. But sa among high school that time, ang itudlo sa amo kay Excel sa computer lab. So, any questions before we end this session? Again, ang lecture na to is only 2 hours because 2 units ra ni ang lecture hours ani and 1 unit ang lab. Any questions?
Wala na, sir.
Clarifications? Clarifications? None? Then, thank you for coming for the online discussion. This will be the end. See you next week. Goodbye. God bless. Stay safe and be safe.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Stay safe, sir.
you.